Hello there, guys, girls, ladies, and gentlemen. My name is Leipalarden, and oh boy. I didn't intend to make a video about Infinite this week. I had planned on doing a breakdown of some features I'd like to see added to the Master Chief Collection, some quality of life or bug fixes that could be implemented, but here we are, back on Infinite again with probably the most aggravating bit of news I've had to cover, and is kind of an unintentional sequel to the video I made last week that stressed the importance of casual Halo and the countless hours of entertainment and fun that can come from it. Recently, a Reddit user by the name of Real Sun Tzu did a bit of research into Halo Infinite's matchmaking system and discovered a little something called a hidden matchmaking rating, or MMR for short. Essentially, an MMR is a number that the game prescribes you depending on your performance. Now, this is something that you'd likely expect in ranked. Makes sense, right? Games rank you based on how well you play. That comes in the form of a number, or in Infinite's case, like the medals you have. Bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, onyx, whatever. Fair enough. Only it's not just in ranked. This MMR number spans across all the modes within Infinite, including social playlists like Quick Play, Big Team Battle, Fiesta, and even, get this right, bots. So if you frag out in a bots match and get a stupidly high KD that counts towards your MMR, Infinite's matchmaking systems will try to pair you against players with similarly high MMRs and players who are roughly the same or in some cases better than you. On the other end of the spectrum, someone with a lower MMR might get paired with someone with a higher MMR to help carry them and win a match, as the game occasionally, not always, but occasionally, tries to lend them a hand in the form of more skilled teammates, which is why you might notice that you're always carrying your games. MMR isn't always a bad thing though, as it can help protect players who are either new to the game and thus not very good, or have a disability and can't play to the same extent or level as someone who isn't disabled. You can't just have Optic Lucid dunking on new players and expect that to be considered as fair. It's not an inherently evil system when utilized in the correct way, and that's a key takeaway from all of this. But that's not what this system is here for. The general gist of the Reddit post was that if you go incredibly well, even in social playlists, it will count towards your MMR and act as another layer of ranking in addition to the ones like Gold, Diamond, Onyx, etc. that are already in ranked. This is essentially skill-based matchmaking. And trust me, it's anything but based. I hate having to draw comparisons to Call of Duty again in one of my videos, but this is exactly skill-based matchmaking from the COD franchise. The game tries to pair you against players who are roughly your skill level or better. And you know what that did to Call of Duty?
Just don't think that high of a skill-based matchmaking belongs in pubs.
I just don't like going hard and playing at my maximum level every single game. Not having fun.
It fucking ruined the COD community, and most importantly, it ruined otherwise good or decent games like Modern Warfare and Black Ops Cold War for a lot of people. It somehow managed to find its way into Warzone of all games. A battle royale, a game mode where the whole point is that it's supposed to be random in almost every aspect, from loot to the number of players who dropped at your location, to the path the plane takes, and the assortment of random players in the game with varying skill levels. People tried to exploit SBMM in every way they possibly could. VPNs to match with players in other countries who statistically play worse than people from their own country. Joining on players who are bad at the game and letting them search in matchmaking so you'd have a higher chance of getting lower skilled players. Reverse boosting, tanking in multiple games, purposefully ruining your KD and performance, only to then go into lobbies full of noobs a few matches later to play properly and destroy them. SBMM ruined Call of Duty's casual nature. Its place in the industry as an arcadey 6v6 shooter was scrapped in favor of a malicious system that sucked the fun out of an otherwise perfectly fine series of games that were, at their core, about being fun and offering a casual experience. But how does this differ to Halo? If you saw the video I uploaded last week, you'd know that Halo is at its best when you're playing it casually. That's how the series started back in 2001 with split-screen couch co-op, and that's how it should stay. Not undermining the competitive aspect of Halo in any way, as Halo is great at a competitive level too, but it should first and foremost be a casual game with lots of variety, therefore appealing to a wide demographic of players. Halo is no stranger to skill-based matchmaking of some kind. Starting in Halo 2, Bungie were always trying to offer the best experience for players possible, and part of that included an algorithm called TrueSkill that would match you to players who were roughly at a similar level to you.
It's hard to play with people that are lower skill level than you, even if you really like them, because you're probably going to lose more often, and you're not going to have as much fun. If I play with Chris, the two of us are ranked together as a team, and if he's not as good as me, then that's going to take down your rank.
Where Bungie's system differed to what is currently being used in Infinite, however, is the option to change your search preferences. You could circumvent TrueSkill almost in its entirety if you wanted to by changing your search preferences to same language or closest. The game would be forced to prioritize those choices in the matchmaking algorithm over your TrueSkill rank. TrueSkill was already pretty lenient anyways when it came to matching you up with similarly ranked players. Why? Because Bungie prioritized fun with their games and finding an optimal match in the quickest possible way, not rank or skill or some crap like that. The truth of the matter is that people play games for fun. They don't play games to sweat it up after a few matches because a malicious hidden ranking system is trying to pair them with people roughly their skill level or better. When folks come home from a long day at work or school, the last thing they want is to switch on their Xbox or PC, load up some Halo, play a few rounds, only to then get slapped about by someone who basically plays like a clone of themselves, if not slightly better. I wouldn't be surprised if this is also part of the reason why there isn't a server option or region select, or even something as simple as search preferences in Infinite like there has been in every other Halo game, except for Halo 4. The matchmaking system doesn't allow for that, as it's likely trying to prioritize skill and your MMR over connection. So all those lobbies that you've been ending up in with 100+ ping, no doubt they're because the game is trying to match you up with players of a similar MMR and not based on your connection or latency to a server. The question now is, what do 343 have to gain from this? What does MMR do to benefit them, as it's not really benefiting a majority of us as players? Like I said, SBMM and MMR aren't fundamentally immoral systems when they're used in the right ways, but when paired with other forms of player analysis that can be used to form data about player behavior and habits, it can be twisted into something much worse, like what's currently, well, we don't know for sure because no one said it, but we can infer that it's being used in Call of Duty, called the Engagement Optimized Matchmaking System. This system, like I said, can be used to collect information about the player, most notably their matches completed to quit ratio, averaging out the amount of matches you play before rage quitting and progressively pushing you up the MMR skill ladder. When the system sees you're close to hitting your threshold of games played without quitting, it'll throw you a bone in the form of a new match with players from a lower skilled bucket than the ones you were performing in prior, and then repeating all over again, starting off easy, getting progressively harder till it pushes you right to your limit, then gives you another easy match. You might think I'm making this shit up, but elements of this system are already in TrueSkill 2 that was first used in Halo 5 and is likely being used in Infinite as well. Josh Menk, former developer for 343, mentions aspects of this in a talk for GDC, and Activision's patent for engagement optimized matchmaking draws similarities to this too. The systems for something like this are real and could very easily be in Infinite already. Once you have a system like this and people find out about it, they're not going to want to play along, which is exactly what happened in Call of Duty. Because of how MMR works in Infinite, if you warm up and do well in a social playlist before hopping into Ranked, it'll find players of an equally high MMR to match you up against. The opposite is also true. If you suck in social and get a low MMR and hop into Ranked, well, you get the idea. Just like COD, you can effectively reverse boost to temporarily lower your MMR by tanking your stats in social. So to all you poor bastards who grinded for Onyx, hey listen, I didn't want to be the one to break it to you, but it's meaningless at this point. 343 have said they're planning to reset everyone's rank. They haven't said when exactly, but unless they can change how MMR works, it's not gonna matter. It's not gonna stop people from reverse boosting in social to get easier ranked matches. And the fact 343 didn't consider this while developing this system tells me that they were stupidly lazy and didn't care for the discrepancy between ranked and social play, or they didn't think that the player base would inevitably find this out, or they were incompetent and didn't think of the repercussions of this whatsoever. I don't know about you lads, but back in the day when I first started playing online video games, I didn't get better by playing against people who were all noobs or bots. I got curb-stomped playing Halo 3 for the first time, and the same could be said for Black Ops 1. I got arse blasted. by people who were leagues ahead of me and knew the game inside and out. But there were also plenty of people who were just as bad, if not worse than me, in those lobbies too. I improved at the game by seeing how those better players played. I'd look at the scoreboard, follow them around, asked what their loadouts were in the post-game chat, to which they'd normally say, "Fuck off, squeaker." Or I'd go into theater and watch how that cracked out kid with recon armor threw a grenade right next to the sniper on Longshore, only to then walk into it and pick it up while it was in midair. Like, bruh, coolest shit you'd ever fucking seen. Playing in social with a variety of players, both good and bad, taught me what to do and what not to do before heading into ranked and ultimately becoming a fairly decent player. It shouldn't feel like there's an invisible demon hanging over me, punishing me for playing well. I didn't learn to get better by playing against clones of myself every game and feeling like I'm not improving because the MMR is trying to keep up with me and pair me against similarly skilled players every match. It's a counterintuitive system. How do you expect players to feel like they're improving and getting better, and most importantly, enjoying themselves, if you're making them fight players who are just as good, if not better? You're flatlining the growth of players by doing that and evening out their KDs so they can't get any better. There is no place outside of the aforementioned new players and those with a disability for MMR in social Halo. Or if there is, it should be handled similarly to Bungie's games, where it's very lenient and a secondary system that isn't prioritized over connection, for God's sakes. As if it wasn't bad enough playing Halo in Australia with desync, I've got to worry about being 200 milliseconds behind the rest of the lobby as well, because the game is matching me with people on East Coast American servers with a similar skill level. Yep, no thank you, sorry. Nah, 260 ping, yeah, how about you get fucked? This is something that affects everyone. The Halo experience we all know and love, social modes and casual fun, could potentially be jeopardized by a destructive system that won't just be affecting casual players but also those who enjoy ranked as well, all for doing something as simple as trying to warm up in social before hopping into the sweatfest. And the worst part of it is that it's such an easy system to exploit that once this method catches on, the rank you have in game will be completely meaningless. I've seen how similar systems have ruined matchmaking in Call of Duty. I've seen veterans of the franchise for 10 plus years pack their bags and walk away from the series, or become so bitter about it that their entire YouTube careers are founded on hating it, all because of SBMM. Halo can do better, it needs to do better, because every week we're discovering more and more things to pull apart and more issues that need fixing. The pile of stuff that 343 need to fix is starting to look less like one of dirty laundry and more like that giant dino turd from Jurassic Park.
That is one big pile of shit.
MMR is not an inherently evil system. It has its place, but it can't step on the toes of social players, and it can't be this lazily implemented. In the words of a very wise man,
fix your shit, man.
So 343, just fix your shit.